Welcome everybody to a new episode of The Big Review. My name is Eric Young. I'm the CEO and Creative Director of EY Studios. We're an elite partner of BigCommerce. BigCommerce is the most customizable SaaS platform on the planet. Very pleased to be partners with them. I'm joined with Amir Hasabi from BigCommerce. I'll introduce my other guest in just a second. Amir, how's it going?
Going great. Thanks so much for having me, Eric.
Amir, what all do you do with BigCommerce for people that are not familiar with you, maybe from the first episode of the Big Review? What all do you do there?
Yeah, I'm one of the enterprise solutions engineers here at BigCommerce. I have the pleasure of working with different businesses who look at evaluating BigCommerce and implementing BigCommerce and for their e-commerce stores. And I had the pleasure of actually working with the We Sell Mats team when they were evaluating BigCommerce.
That's right, a good segue. So I'd like to introduce We Sell Mats. They're a fantastic merchant, great client of EY Studios. Welcome, We Sell Mats.
Hello. Hi. I'm Missy Richardson.
Sorry, introduce yourself.
And I'm Jenny Davis. I'm the content manager at We Sell Mats.
Very good. So glad to have you guys, and I know you've got a lot of great stuff to share with the folks that have tuned in today for the Big Review. And Amir, I'm going to kind of focus on them for a little bit. If you stick around, I want to go back to their site and point out some things that we've done with We Sell Mats, and I want to get your take on maybe some things that you're seeing as being successful, and maybe some future ideas as well, if you can stick around.
Happy to be here.
All right, very good. So We Sell Mats team, I'd love to hear maybe about the early days of starting the company and what all has got you to this point. Could you maybe catch us up on that?
Absolutely. It was my husband and myself. We started out of our garage trying to be masters of everything, trying to do it all. And we were small, working out of the house, had a dream to start up and own something of our own. Decided that, eventually we just couldn't do everything ourselves and had to reach out to partners like yourselves to get the additional support to make us who we are today.
That's right. So what were some early challenges that you guys faced in terms of getting everything off the ground? I know some of the merchants that are tuning in today are just starting their company, right? They're trying to get things off the ground. And what advice would you give them just based on your experience with the company?
Definitely not to give up, to keep pressing forward. You're always going to run into challenges. You're going to have some ups, and you're going to have some downs. You just got to power through those downs because there's always going to be an up. You just got to power through it. And, and Missy was right about finding the correct partners to help support your business. Partners like EY Studios and BigCommerce have been a pivotal point in our business and actually thrusted us forward in the correct direction.
Well, I know, like you said, don't give up, and especially these days, there's so much that can compel a merchant to give up, right? So many external factors. Of course, the latest being with what all the stuff that 2020 has thrown us with some of the challenges there. How have you guys weathered what's happened in 2020? I mean, obviously, the site, you guys are doing fantastic. But how have you guys weathered the challenges? Can you catch us up on that?
Well, I guess some of our challenges had to do with more volume. With all the gyms closing and our main product line, our gym flooring, everybody in the USA needed flooring for their garage or for their extra room so they can continue to exercise. So we had a lot of upside to our business. And, and of course, a lot of that comes with challenges because we have to make sure we staff appropriately. And of course, with the COVID-19, we just couldn't do it. We were afraid to. So we were working, 12, 15-hour days, 6, 7 days a week sometimes, just to keep the orders flowing. And also, there's getting the product in because we didn't plan for, these sales. But yeah, just we kept focused. We made sure we got everything done that needed to be done in the proper order, and we're succeeding.
Right. So Ken, was your supply chain impacted at all through all this? Was that a challenge or not really?
It was a little bit, but we had to sort of spread the love over different manufacturers. So we're not getting everything from one manufacturer like we were before. So just lots of different moving parts right now to make sure we have the correct product coming in.
Right. So I want to talk a little bit about the We Sell Mats brand. I'm a brand guy, and to me, branding is just another word for differentiation. And I'm curious how you guys see your brand differentiating itself into the market, how your customers, what they associate with the brand. Could you speak some on that? Maybe how the brand's evolved, that sort of thing?
I can talk about that. Yeah, so our brand has always been We Sell Mats, but we have some other brands underneath that, and we actually went through a rebranding about the same time, which we changed the logo to more of a W icon, which we're gonna, as we produce more gymnastics mats and fitness mats moving forward, we're gonna replace our old We Sell Mats spelled out with the icon, and we're actually it's developed into basically a house of brands, kind of like what you would see with Procter and Gamble, with different brands underneath that. So we have Forest Floor, which is our very popular wood grain foam flooring that trade shows or people who have trade show booths love it for the cushioning and the look and feel of the products, but also we have the We Sell Mats foam, which is our multi-purpose foam, and it comes in a variety of colors and thicknesses. And then we have a brand called Velitas, which is our fitness product. So we have equipment mats like to go under treadmills and some foam flooring that's branded as Velitas. So we're developing all of this under, like I said, a house of brands. And now, and I know we mentioned to you guys before that we are very popular on Amazon now. People are shopping for our brand name, not just our product. So that's been huge. We're now ranking at the top of Google searches. We actually, when we saw at the end of March, when people were staying home and all the orders started coming through our BigCommerce site, we'd already planned to launch Google AdWords, like a major campaign around June, but we decided to just go for it and launch it. And it's just like our business has tripled on the website. It's been incredible. Wow. And so, yeah, it's been really nice to see that, but also seeing people searching for our brands too, on Amazon and on Google.
So Jenny, was there a tipping point where that occurred? Was it a slow progress where you started to see that gradually happen, or how would you describe that?
It just kind of blew up all of a sudden. It was
Switch.
Yeah.
It was just switch turned on because, for one thing, Amazon, a lot of our competition could not sell their products because we're a drop shipper for Amazon. So we fulfill in our warehouse as Amazon. A lot of people don't do that, and they were on the seller side of Amazon, and Amazon started restricting to essential products like face masks, hand sanitizer, and all that. And so we were able to climb those rankings to where now we're in the top, like we might have been down in number 4,000 and something, like our yoga mats, which we ended up selling out of, climbed to like number one. I think they were number one at one point, up and down in the top 5 at least. And yeah, in the yoga mat category. And it was just all of a sudden, like in, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks. And so we're like, well, take advantage of this with Google AdWords too. So and we're wondering, when things start opening up, is it going to go back, kind of go down? But we haven't really seen that, knock on wood, yet. And we're hoping the momentum carries us through the holidays, which is always our big season.
Yeah. Well, and I know that's so flattering and encouraging, like you said, that people are looking for your brand in the searches, and that's so thrilling to hear that. What do you do with that though? Once you've achieved that kind of success, how do you parlay that going forward? I know you're the content manager there. What are some things you can do now that maybe you couldn't do before, Jenny?
Well, right now, we can reinvest into building our website bigger. I know right now we're working with you guys at UI Studios to build a mega menu and
Right.
adding different categories, commercial, more home-based products. Like we've added wrestling mats that we never had before. We're bringing in new products. So we're getting ready to really grow as far as the website in the next probably 3 months. And so with that, reinvesting that, we can bring on new products. We can add new functionality to the website and make it more customer friendly. Not that it isn't right now, but there's, features and things that we'd like to add. And it's just kind of been on our to-do list or nice to have, but we didn't have that extra money to reinvest into it. And I think we will be able to this year.
No, that's fantastic. And every merchant always kind of weighs the aesthetic aspect of a website as well as the functional. And with your products, people are looking at the aesthetics, right? I mean, you're putting the mats on the ground. That's such a key part of you're inviting this product into your house. It's a key part of the aesthetic of a home. But there's also the functional aspect, right? The durability of the product and things like. How do you guys weigh the aesthetic versus the functional in terms of what your customers are looking for, and maybe how that plays into the site? What goes into that?
Yeah. Well, when we started the business, we wanted to provide our consumers, such as ourselves, products that were priced competitively and were quality. That's always been our goal, how we want to be treated. We work with our manufacturers to ensure that we have quality goods. Jenny, EY Studios, they provide the videos, the media, the marketing to display those goods. So we always listen to our consumers. If I can convey that to business owners or future business owners, listen to your consumers, find out what they want and provide to them what they're looking for.
No, that's a great point. And Missy, just kind of staying with that, the listening to the customers. I know that's, from speaking to you before, that's extremely important to you and the whole culture there at the company. As a leader in the organization, what do you do to enforce that across the board to make sure your customer service is up to snuff and really hold the standards that I know you prize? How do you do that?
Well, it's the way, I like to say, it's the way we treat our people here, our employees. We consider everyone that's a team with us part of the team, but also part of the family. We're still a small niche group. A huge concern with us when COVID hit is bringing people on board and that's why Jenny was out there packing. Our accountant was out there packing.
We brought my son in to pack.
We were all packing.
Yeah, we were, because we tell our customers, it says on our website from you guys, we'll ship the orders within 48 business hours. We guarantee that, so we have to follow through with what we say. So as far as the safety protocols, when the COVID hit, we brought in, everyone wears a face mask here. We do multiple cleanings a day. Everyone has hand washings. Once they come in, temperatures are checked. So we make sure everybody's well, because we're friends and family. We don't want anyone to get sick.
Right. Well, is that a major concern for your employees, rather, for their safety? I mean, how is that going?
Yeah, I would say it is on the back of their mind. Of course, we have the same people here every day. We don't have outside people coming in constantly, like a restaurant or a beauty salon. So yeah, I think everybody feels pretty comfortable the way we're doing things. Like Missy said, we're doing the face masks. We got hand sanitizer. We got bleach. We're using all that stuff. So yeah.
I'll make a note towards that. We recently started doing customer reviews with Trustpilot and also implemented Stamped.io for product reviews. And the feedback we're getting is from customers recently, especially with our gymnastics and fitness mats, they really like how they're packaged because they're wrapped inside of clear plastic and then also wrapped, this is from our manufacturer, in like a silver kind of outside plastic, and they really like it. They feel secure with that product, opening it up and seeing that other hands haven't touched it. So that's been, I've seen that recently on a lot of the feedback. The other things were very quick shipping, excellent customer service. So it's really helpful to have some of those, I guess you call it apps for big commerce added to your site, because it really helps with your SEO, with the trust. You know, when customers, like, they go to Amazon, they see all the stars. I mean, those type of things are really important to have. So
Absolutely.
a lot of wonderful apps that go with big commerce as well.
And it's reassuring to too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Absolutely. Amir, I think that's a good segue for you to come into this, in terms of the apps that they're talking about, the BigCommerce offers. And I'm curious your take on, you know, what's been discussed about juggling the performance of the site as well as the other channels that are important, right? Like Amazon. What are your thoughts on what we're discussing there?
Yeah, I mean, one of the really cool things about BigCommerce is that you just need those critical apps that Jenny was just talking about. You don't necessarily need an app to do coupons or to do any specific things that we consider as the fundamentals of doing e-commerce. We want to make sure that those are built into the platform. But then there are really good apps for reviews, for getting more essentially validation from the market, like Trusted Reviews provide, that don't necessarily make the performance of the site any different per se, and actually bring in a lot of value to the brand by providing a third-party validation. One of these really cool things is the Google customer reviews, right? Because Google is able to aggregate all these different types of reviews that could potentially be out there about the brand, and having that Google, branding on the page even improves with that shopper confidence. So a lot of great tools in the marketplace, and another nice thing about it is that they're all tested by our BigCommerce engineers. So you wanted to try one out, it's not going to break your checkout. It's not going to critically stop business for you if you wanted to try out a loyalty app, or if you wanted to try out a different review app on the site.
Amir, I know a lot of our merchants, I'd love to hear what We Sell Mats thinks about this too. A lot of our merchants struggle with the priority, right? There's only so much time in the day, only so much budget. And if Amazon is really kicking butt and the site may need to be catching up, obviously we would love for the brand to really have that site be the level of prominence it needs to be. But when you have other channels that are doing really well, what have you seen as kind of a best practice to balance that type of channel management? What are your thoughts?
It's a really good question. One really nice statement that I picked up at one of the conferences that we went to before COVID happened was that when you sell on Amazon, your customers are not necessarily your customers, they're Amazon's customers. So it's great to be on Amazon because that's where people look for products. But if you have a brand, it's also really important to have your own site. But then now even more important is being on those social channels. So Facebook and Instagram, I'm sure you all saw the announcement by Mark Zuckerberg. We were one of the launch partners of Facebook Shop. And that's a really unique way of getting your products in front of the shopper's feed, where they might be spending 5-6 hours a day on Facebook throughout the day, and you have the opportunity of surfacing up the specific things that they might be looking for on Facebook, or they might have searched before throughout their experience that Facebook has that data over. So I think marketplaces are a great place to be in front of the shoppers, but social shops are also something that we've seen a huge, tremendous growth on, and I would highly recommend everybody to be on if they're not on already.
Yes, we recently started doing some aggressive marketing on Facebook and Instagram, and it's going really well. We're growing it, we're testing different things, but we have the agency that's helping us with Google Adwords is actually then I have another agency that actually does the engagement and the posting on those social channels. We communicate together. And then if I have, say, a coupon code that I set up in BigCommerce, we advertise that on social media like crazy. And then we also have it on our display ads and some shopping ads on Google as well.
Well, no, another thing that you guys can speak to that I think a lot of folks would want to hear your perspective on is switching platforms, right? You were on one platform, you moved to BigCommerce. I'd love to hear how that went, maybe some lessons that you learned throughout that. Describe that process for us.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we were on Magento, and we switched to BigCommerce. We officially launched last August 2019, and there were some hiccups because, you know, right out of the box, BigCommerce has some different things in Magento, but maybe not as flexible right out of the gate. But then working with you guys at EY Studios, we did a lot of customization, and it's been, I mean, the site speed is so much better than when we were on Magento. There's a lot of really good marketing capabilities in BigCommerce, but yeah, there was some transition times where, you know, hey, I can't pick this and this as a variant. We need to build something out, or we wanted a custom calculator built. People can go in and figure out the square footage that they need when they buy our interlocking puzzle tiles for floors. So there's a lot of customization that can be done in BigCommerce, but e-commerce businesses definitely need someone like EY Studios to work with, you know, BigCommerce to build that out in the way that they, you know, think their customers would like to have it done. So, like I said, I mean, there were hiccups in the way, but just different things with shipping rules, and there was a whole list of things. But our account manager at EY Studios, we love Emily, you know, she's like, you are like paving the way for all the BigCommerce customers, because you ask the strangest things for us to do or to add, and we've never done this, but we research it, and we work with ShipStation and Shipper HQ, and so, you know, it's just been a learning curve, and we just have been expanding out the website. But like I said, it's always something different that maybe you guys haven't seen, or BigCommerce hasn't been asked about yet. But then for the most part, you guys figure out a way to get it done on our site.
Right. What are your thoughts on the overall customization level that BigCommerce offers from what you were used to before?
It's different. It's different. And I didn't use Magento a whole lot. I came on board at the end of 2018, so I just used it for a little bit. But you know, there were some things like coupon codes, for instance. It was a little bit easier to manage in Magento, but the tracking and everything it wasn't what it is in BigCommerce. So there's different things, and I think overall BigCommerce is better though. It's quicker. It just looks nicer. I mean, the whole site just looks so much better than it did before.
Ken and Missy, as business owners, what would you have to say to other business owners that are evaluating a platform move, right? Is it better just to kind of stick with what you know? I mean, what was the impetus for your move when you finally said, okay, it's time to go? What are your thoughts there?
Well, you know, a lot of that decision we left up to Jenny, and you know, our operations manager and Jenny, they would come to us and say, hey, we need these things that were not being offered on Magento. So we gave her full reign to figure out the best platform. And I can't remember all what went into that, but I do know that we have a very powerful site right now, and it's because of BigCommerce.
And it came down to BigCommerce versus Shopify, and BigCommerce just had more flexibility with the different variants that we needed on the products, the thicknesses, the colors, different options. We just had too many odd little things in our catalog that it just wouldn't have worked with Shopify. So yeah, we're happy with BigCommerce.
That's great to hear. I mean, I know you're happy to hear that as well.
Definitely. Yeah. Always great to hear success stories like We Sell Mats.
Yeah. And Amir, what they just shared as far as the customization level, particularly against Shopify, I know that that can be confusing with you know, SaaS platforms like BigCommerce versus Shopify. But I think they hit the nail on the head in terms of the customization level, particularly for the product page. Like they're saying, they have some funky requests, and sometimes BigCommerce can just handle that funkiness a little bit better for than Shopify, and enable that type of customization. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great practices on the Resell Mats site that BigCommerce enables for you to achieve very easily, and for Jenny be able to quickly update, whereas any other legacy SaaS platform that you take a look at would require custom development or hard coding the text into a specific part. And a really quick example of that is the category pages. So if you go to almost every category page on resellmatch.com, you see there is really great content about what you're seeing about the products on that page. And that's one of the really big differentiators when we talk about search engine optimization and what controls you have over the pages within the platform. And ability to control that content on the page is one of the strong suits of the platform.
Well, Amir, you keep serving me up here. It's a good segue. So why don't we do that? Why don't we go directly into the site? You know, this is a big review, so we're reviewing one site, and that is We Sell Mats today. We'll talk about what's working and maybe some things to keep in mind as we go forward with the brand. So let's pull that up. We've got the homepage there. Hopefully, everybody can see that on their screen. So Amir, let's kick it all over to you, and I'll have some follow-up thoughts. But we can scroll. You tell us where to go. But what are your thoughts when you just see the homepage as we scroll down and evaluate what's happening there? Just the overall initial presence. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I personally really love the way that the page is laid out. It gives you the right level of information, like right out of the gate. But what I would recommend is, above the fold, as soon as you arrive, maybe having some more like call to actions, or if you're promoting a product, having it more up on the page, because especially on mobile, as soon as you arrive, right, you want something that's very engaging that the shopper can interact with, but still, ability to look at the different shop by activities, I think is a really key part for someone that's not sure, where they need to go throughout the site. They're able to quickly identify where is my need, and what are those products that if I'm a martial arts buyer of a specific gym, I know where to go and look at all those specific products. So I really like the shop by activity and the shop by finish sections. But above the fold, right, where the carousel exists, I think maybe doing some A/B testing of running maybe a different banner or different types of products that you could present up there could be cool as well.
Well, I think that's good feedback, and keeping the thought about what we could do above the fold. I think even just an area to describe those unique selling propositions about what's so unique about We Sell Mats. That's an area where you need to brag, right, and do it up front. And we have that in the header, right? We've got the free samples, easy returns, free shipping over 75. But I think as we evaluate the mega menus and things like that, having that area ensconced on the homepage is something that we could do as well, and that might free up some of the real estate in the header. What are your thoughts, Amir?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the cool things that can be done is doing a heat map study, right? Because a lot of the times your shoppers know where they want to click. So running a few sessions, understanding what things are getting clicked on and how far people are scrolling through the page will be really valuable to actually understand, well, the audience that's visiting the site, what are they looking for? What buttons are they actually clicking on? Is the search actually being used or not? Or should we make it a little bit more visible for it to be used? So I think there's a lot of valuable data that can be gathered from the current build as well.
Yeah. And, one of the things I like about the We Sell Mat site, it may seem like a small thing, but I'll go ahead and point it out. Even just something as simple as order ship in 2 biz days, just that kind of wording. Again, it may seem small, but it's how people talk, right? You've got a little bit more of a natural feel, and I think it's emblematic of the way that We Sell Mat sells. You know, they're a very personable approach to doing things. I think when sites can sound like people talk, I think that's a good thing to reinforce that brand value. But you know, we're about to move on to the mega menus and talk about some ideas for that here in a second. But you know, I want to point out, you know, yesterday, and We Sell Mats knows this, I had my customer hat on because my wife wants to convert one of my sons. My son has 2 playrooms. Okay, that's full of kids. But yeah, I know. Don't give me the look. Emily's actually here giving me looks, guys. It's not pretending Emily's not in the room. I see you, Emily, looking at me. But anyway, we're going to convert one of my son's playrooms into I don't know what the proper name for. I'm just calling it like a sanity room for my wife. You know, she just needs to. She's been cooped up with my kid, and so she wants to have an art room. You know, I have my studio at home, and she wants to have a place where she can paint and go crazy and everything. And so she didn't want to get the stuff on the carpet, and so I put my customer hat on and wanted to know, you know, what We Sell Mats recommended, and they use the site as a selling tool. And you know, as you're talking about what's above the fold, you know, we saw, you probably have to scroll just because we're eating up some real estate with the video. But you know, my eyes went immediately to that home link, right, by that shop by activity. And I think that's so important to think like customers think. Sometimes the merchants think about what they want to sell, what's important to them, and I think you have to balance that with the way customers are actually interacting. And that goes back to what you were saying about making sure that the heat map surveys are in place. So you actually see real time data, right, Amir?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think the more you know about your shoppers, the more likely you are to sell more to them and get them through the funnel. Really, the goal here of the site is to be a really good salesperson for you to make sure that they can not only acquire new customers but also keep those newly acquired customers coming back for more.
Right. So, Jenny, you were talking about the mega menus earlier, and what are your thoughts as we go into that? You know, as ways to kind of improve upon the navigation. We can kind of mouse over, see the categories that we have. You know, there's a lot of text links, not a whole lot of imagery there, right? But I think because you sell such a image-heavy product, like we said, if people are inviting us into their home, they're trying to make color decisions, things like that. What are your thoughts, Jenny, in looking at the menus?
Well, the mega menu you guys are working on now for us, it's going to be really expanded out into just, you know, home focused products, commercial. So commercial will branch off into like the trade show area, gymnastics facilities, but also when you go to click on one of those categories, a picture will, like a preview picture is going to pop up so that you can kind of see, you know, most people are visual, so I think it's going to really add a lot to the menu. But we've kind of maxed out this menu right now because we keep adding new products and new categories, and really the only way to expand it out and have it look really good is to create those mega menus and just different, you know, several products may be in the same category, but it's going to be like how a customer is going to shop. They're going to shop by, you know, I'm looking for something for American Ninja Warrior, and you know, it's probably going to be under Ninja Warrior or parkour or one of those things, but just different categories that, you know, if you get into a customer's brain just based on keyword searches that we're looking at on Google, it makes sense. So they can go there, whether, you know, the same mat's probably going to be in gymnastics, fit, or possibly fitness and floor mats. I mean, but it's just however that customer in their brain wants to navigate. We're hoping that everything will be right there for them to easily see, along with a preview picture.
Absolutely. And, you know, if we could scroll back over shop by activity, and those activities couldn't be more different, right? Like you said, with martial arts right next to home and office, right now they're rendered exactly the same, right? But the activities couldn't be more different. So highlighting that difference visually, I think, is going to add a lot. to the user experience. I'm really excited to see how that plays off. Another thought that I have is, the shop by activity is obviously a ubiquitous, catch-all for the various types of activities. In branding that differently than the product types, such as foam tiles and wood grain carpet tiles, obviously that's different. But then when you look at fitness or gymnastics, that's different than carpet tiles and wood grain, right? And so the point is just having those differences of ideas that needs to be reflected in the usability aspects. And I think those visual cues, as we look to enhance that nav, will work. And Amir, there's nothing necessarily wrong with what we have here. It's clear, it's legible. But I think having those subtle and sometimes not so subtle visual cues is really going to help the experience. What are your thoughts?
I agree, and this is the type of thing that we see all the time. These type of improvements and updates that you can do to your site without having to go through a full re-platform or a full redesign of everything else. It's just a matter of making sure that you're really catering as your audience is adapting. So obviously, since the We Sell Mats team has launched on BigCommerce, there's been a lot of new products added, maybe new audiences that now shop. So I think being able to adapt to the market that you serve, I think is really key. And we're really glad that you're taking advantage of constantly improving on the site and reinvesting back into it.
Right, well said. Amir, there's a lot of merchants that have almost anxiety. They feel like that they have to get everything perfect, everything they could possibly do with the site before they launch. But sometimes for cash flow restrictions or even scheduling restrictions, it's not always possible. And I'm always an advocate to, hey, if you need to move platforms, if you need to move over to Big, let's get you going with the MVP, right? The minimal viable product. Get you going and make sure that you can make sales. And obviously, We Sell Mats have done that. But now, it's the time to pour gasoline where there's fire, right? We see where there's activity and how we can enhance that through a better, improved user experience. But let's go through to the section page now. Let's click through to maybe gymnastics mats. There we go. So we've got the initial content at the top, and then the sort feature with the large thumbnails for the mats. But Amir, as we scroll down the page here, what are your thoughts on this section page as it relates to possibilities within BigCommerce?
Yeah, I mean, couple of things that point out that are really great, and I'm super happy to see the We Sell Mats team leveraging. First is making sure that your URLs are cut and clear. So when you look at the We Sell Mats sites, there's what we call human readable URLs, and you don't have any additional words or funky percentage signs in the URL that's throwing the robot that's indexing away. And then secondly, you have content on the page. So this is really key. A lot of people have the old SEO mentality of Google really looking for keywords, but the Google bot is actually smart now, so it can actually understand the text that you have on the page. So it's really key, and I'm really glad to see that happening. There's some more functionality out of the box with the platform that can be enabled. I think product filtering is one of those really interesting things that, fortunately or unfortunately, Amazon really ingrained in the shopper's brain. Like, any of us that go to Amazon immediately are drawn to that left-hand area where you can filter down to sizes or different attributes that might be on the product. And that's available on BigCommerce for merchants to use. So when you assign different options and variations to the product for size and colors, you can use those as filters on the category pages, as well as any attributes. So like, how you have the shop by activity section and categorize products, you could actually do the same thing. So like if these mats, gymnastic mats, have different activity within them still, or different purposes or different pro levels, you could tag those as custom attributes and then again use those on the category pages that they appear. So when I arrive to this page and maybe I'm seeing 50, 60 products or however many there might be, like filtering down to 2 or 3 attributes that I'm looking for specifically, I'm getting quicker to that product. So it's just a much easier way for me to find what I'm looking for.
Jeannie, we sell masks. What are your thoughts on what I'm here saying about filtering and the section page here?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know when I go to websites, I want to filter by price, by color, by size, and definitely important, definitely something that, we want to have in the future. And I think it is important. I mean, everyone wants to build their website just like Amazon, because Amazon is king. And so but shoppers expect that. Shoppers expect, what we don't have right now is one of and that's why another reason we have order, ship, in 2 biz days. We get a lot of questions, especially during COVID-19. How quickly is this going to ship? Because Amazon, you order it and it says you're going to have it in 2 days or 4 days or whatever it is. And right now we don't have that set for live rates, just for some internal things that we need to work out with box sizes. But that is something that is on our radar to do, because everyone expects that. Everyone, I need to know when my product's going to be here. Is it going to be 3 weeks, or is it going to, Amazon says if I order your same product on Amazon Prime, I'm going to get it in 2 days. I'm in California. And so we have that same expectation. We want them to be able to go to our site and have that live. So that's also, but going back to the filtering, I mean, that's definitely something Amazon, I mean, people are used to that.
Well, you nailed it. I was about to say that usability, a big key to that is doing what people are used to seeing. Right? That's a good way to remember that. You just said that yourself, Jenny, so I think you're exactly right. Let's go ahead into a product page and check that out. We'll navigate into that now. So here we've got a 4x6 gymnastics tumbling mat. And Amir, I'll kick it over to you. What are your thoughts as we go through this product page?
Yeah, one thing I love about your product pages is that almost all of them have YouTube videos. That's really, really important. A lot of people don't necessarily know this, but YouTube is actually the 2nd largest search engine in the world. So having that linking within the product is a huge SEO booster, and thing that Google gives you more quality score for. Secondly, one quick feedback, if I may, is that when you arrive to the page, the add to cart button is below the fold. So if you scroll up a little bit, what a quick modification to that is putting those attributes that are above the color selection and the size selections below the add to cart, because that content is still there. The shopper can still scroll and read through it, but when they arrive, the only thing you want them to do is add to cart, right? You want them to select the size and click the button and move forward. You don't necessarily want to give them chance to really read, although you do want them to read, right? But if they're ready to shop, you want them to
shop. And what often happens, Amir, with a site design, or plenty of sites that we've designed, is that somebody will get the design, but then they feel like, well, I have to add this content here, I've got to do this here, and then you start using the thing and you realize that, just like with these bullets here, this is good information, right? These bullets, but like you said, it's pushing the add to cart below the fold, and we don't want them to delete any of this information. We just maybe want them to execute it a little bit differently. So having that kind of spatial arrangement is good. And sometimes you don't know exactly what you need till you start, getting into the site, that sort of thing. But I like that suggestion. I think that's going to help the add to cart get above the fold, like you're saying. Just kind of keeping, as we scroll down a little bit in the theme with text and things that I'd like to do, you can go ahead and scroll just a bit. One thing to keep in mind is with that product description right there, we might want to look at a slightly larger font right there, particularly because it's adjacent to a very big, durable, affordable, foldable 4x6, that title. And you certainly need to have text differentiation right there. It doesn't need to all be the same size, but we need to be real careful with some of the body copy. One of the things I get on to my designers about, and sometimes developers, because they'll put it in there, but maybe not think about the margins, right? And sometimes we have to think about the size of the text and the way that the margins impact that. And so what I would recommend, it's a very easy fix, is just to maybe squeeze that text in a hair and make the text even just a hair bigger as well, and you'd be surprised the level of engagement that a customer would get just from reading that short product description. Do you agree, Amir? What are your thoughts?
I do, and I would add to that actually is that the durable and affordable piece, that's actually an image. And I think if that's not an image and it's actually built either within the text description area or even using our page builder, it gives you SEO value. Therefore, when Google reads it, it's actually looking at the text and is not necessarily looking at an image that has an alt text assigned to it. So transforming these images into the actual part of the description itself where the text exists, I think that would be a huge improvement as well, which would help with the margins and how that's displayed in the page.
Yeah, Jenny, agree? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Actually, that's in the works. I created those images and like you said, to your point about earlier about getting a site up and waiting till everything is perfect. There was nothing, kind of a placeholder, and actually our folks who are helping us with Google AdWords are also experts in SEO, and they are going to build that out as we expand on the mega menus. We're also expanding our content. So right now they said don't change anything yet. We're going to work on all of this. So they're going to, and I'll be sending them images and some of the content, but a lot of it, their SEO gurus that they have are going to help with that, which is awesome because they do this all day, every day. I'm kind of the person. I'm uploading the images, I'm sending out email blasts, I'm managing this. So I dabble in some of it, but we really hire the experts such as EY Studios to help us on the things that they do best. So right now that is a placeholder, and it's definitely going to get improved upon.
Yeah, and I want to reiterate, Eric, by no means, any of the suggestions that we're providing is critical, I'd say, right? Because obviously your site is transacting, you're getting a lot of great sales, and you've had growth. I think these are just minor improvements that could even unlock more opportunity for you that you might not be actually getting because of whatever reason. So I think what the site that you have today is a great starting point to even take it further from where you are.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it go.
Yeah, Jenny, I was just going to say I applaud you and the team for really paying attention to product descriptions. Often Amir's shaking his head. Oftentimes we just see a quick little blip of text and that's it. They call it a day. And just like we were saying earlier about the Amazon baseline, you might say, when you see product descriptions with a lot of visuals, you can scroll down again and just kind of see some of that. That's something that customers are used to seeing now, right? And when a store does not have that, it's almost looking empty compared to what an Amazon might offer. So again, I applaud you guys for prioritizing that, for thinking about the user experience and making this information not just a bunch of text, right? Including some visuals, because again, your product is so visual, it's so colorful, and people need to see not only about the quality, but also that aesthetic, and as they think about what it's going to be like as they use it, not just in, I said the home earlier, but an office or any kind of setting these days. So I love that. Let's go ahead and click the add to cart button as we go further into the page here. Select an option and then add to cart. So Amir, I'd love to get your thoughts on this pop-up here as it relates to BigCommerce functionality. I've got some aesthetic thoughts, but what are your thoughts just based on BigCommerce best practices? What do you think? We lose audio.
Amir, I think you're on mute.
That was right. Yep, I was on mute. Sorry about that. So what we see here is the quick cart view of the platform, which is available on almost all the different themes. And what's out of the box available within here is, as soon as you add an item, it shows you the item that you added, and it shows you the options that you had selected within it. but underneath it has an opportunity of upselling or adding other items that you could potentially add as well. So I don't know honestly how your audience really shops, Jenny. To be very frank, I don't know if upselling is something that you guys come across a lot. But if you do have other items that you'd like to push along the side with a mats, that maybe it's more of an accessorial type of thing rather than an actual main product. This is a good area to surface it up and say, hey, you could also add this, or other things that you want to push along with the product to help maybe clear out inventory or even increase the average cart value. But those would be I guess the baseline things that I could suggest. But then again, it really depends on your audience as well, if they would take an upsell or if not.
Well, it would actually be ideal. That's one of our projects I think we have slated for August to add in that area. Like, for instance, we're bringing on something we've never had before, which is chalk, which a lot of gymnasts use in gymnastics facilities. And so we're going to have an option to add chalk, or the mat cleaner. We just recently started adding disinfectant mat cleaner. So things like that will be able to, I think, pop up in that area. We also want the viewer edit your cart to be more prominent so that people can go, and when they can go in there, because a lot of times they want to estimate how much it's going to cost to ship if they haven't spent $75 yet, and they can go in there, just put in their zip code and city, and it'll estimate it for them without having to go through the pains of entering all their credit card information. So we want that more prominent, and we're also working on this to be more of a fly out to the side to where you can still see the main screen. So those are kind of big projects. They're nice to have, but we're right now, EY Studios is migrating our blog over from WordPress, and that's a huge project that's really going to increase our SEO, and we're going to have some more options there, and it's going to look a lot better. So that's eating up all of our hours for this month, even though I doubled them from the last couple months.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, and then the other big project I want in July to start is we had major success last holiday season with a sale page. We'd never had that before. It was just like a holiday sale page. So I want that for the holidays, but also a constant sale page, because most people go to websites. Like, one of my favorite stores to shop at is Express. So I go there, I always go right to closeout or sale, and I want that to just be a constant page there that could also generate more traffic. But our holiday page last year, it improved our holiday sales from the website it was like $30,000, which, it's not a huge amount, but it was significant to see that, maybe we need like a consistent landing page for sale items or closeout items. So all those little things, it's like a work of art. You start with it right out the box, and you add on, and then you look at other sites. I was like, oh, this is really cool. I want to add this, or I want to add that on. So yeah, we've got a long list that Emily's been tackling.
No, that's exactly right. And I love the idea of that sale page, like you said. A lot of, particularly in the holidays, a lot of merchants ignore that, and they just kind of have a shotgun approach to sales. And so I think having that page is going to help a whole lot. But as we think about the pop-up here too, Amir, and also Jeannie, one of the things I wanted to point out is the number of options that we're giving the customer at this point, right? So we've clicked add to cart, but we've got multiple paths that they could take. They've got the payment options, as well as, of course, to continue shopping. There's a less prominent link to view or edit your cart, and then there's the estimate shipping link there too. That's a lot of options, Amir. What are your thoughts on maybe putting those payment options there for the cart page? We certainly need to segment that, but I'm just wondering about hitting that customer with that many options right away. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and honestly, that's a pretty tricky question, right? Because you don't want to take away the payments options, and you want to make sure that those are available for the shoppers to use. And then you also want to give them the ability of continue shopping. So I think by the redesigning of the fly out menu, or the fly out cart, which also includes the this like quick ad or a quick view of the cart, that could actually be remedied by a lot, because a lot of the some of the themes that I see, you know, they this fly out menu shows up and you have your item on the top, and then you have the options right below where you can proceed to check out or use Apple Pay or Google Pay. To be honest with you, I don't know if I would recommend removing of the options, but rather than making some aesthetical changes to like the way the buttons are displayed, maybe really maybe making it more user friendly, I guess, in terms of like how it's actually sitting next to each other. So it's not like just a long list. But yeah, overall, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to have the options, but it could aesthetically improve.
I think you're right. I think the aesthetics would be the main thing, and that's easy to change. Let's click into proceed to checkout before we run out of time. I want to hit that real quick. And again, Amir, just thinking about what they have right now, you know, there's some aesthetic tweaks. You know, got Amazon Pay buffed up against the Google Pay there. There's some things we could tweak there. But overall, within what BigCommerce offers, what are your thoughts?
So they're using the native BigCommerce checkout. You know, obviously there's flexibility to make modifications here if they'd like, but I don't necessarily think there's anything that they need to specifically change. There, you do have the opportunity here, Jenny, to, if you wanted to try out some of those one-to-one personalization tools where they upsell at checkout or do things like that, to add on to potentially upsell at this checkout environment where, you know, you're saying, hey, you know, do you want this bowl of chalk that we're selling or what have you, that's being sold, to add it immediately to the cart, and you could have that within this environment. But I wouldn't necessarily want to add too much onto the checkout page, because like this is where you want the customer to be, right? You don't want them to go anywhere else. You don't want them to redirect anywhere else. You want them to just carry out and actually pay. Yeah, so I think that's my two cents on that.
Yeah. Jenny, what are your thoughts?
I know, just working with you guys at EY Studios, I know there's been a little hesitation to do anything to the checkout page, and I think it's because there were some limitations originally from BigCommerce. But I don't know, has that changed, Amir? Is there more flexibility if we did want to move some things around?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways that you can make changes to the checkout. So if you're looking to completely change out the layout of checkout, a new checkout would have to be built for you using the checkout SDK that we have, and then that could be uploaded to BigCommerce, and we still maintain the PCI compliance and all those stuff. But you have the ability of fully reconstructing the checkout if you like. We have a lot of merchants that have done that. If you wanted to make changes to this specific checkout in terms of like the way things are, but I want to add a new button or I want to override something, that will be something that we could either do with JavaScript or some other methods of just overtaking that portion that you want to modify, but that wouldn't necessarily be a layout change on the checkout.
Oh, okay.
Very good. Well, Ken, earlier you said that you left it up to Jenny to guide you through the platform decision, and I like that. You know, one of the things we look forward to, look for, I should say, with merchants is somebody that's really in control of the marketing and making sure they've got a good, they're in touch with the products as well as what needs to happen with the brand. I think you've got a good one there with Jenny, and we enjoy working with her so much. And but Ken and Missy both, what's next for the brand? What's next for you guys for We Sell Mats? What's the horizon look like? What are some challenges that you want to overcome? What's next for you guys?
Oh, wow. You know, we've been thrown through a loop the last couple of months, so we haven't had a chance to really dig in. But before that, it was new products and new selling channels. But yeah, right now we're just trying to keep our head above water and making sure we're keeping the customer happy with what we have going on right now, which is probably going to be for the next 6 months or so. We're just going to have that mentality. We do have more items that we're trying to develop, but it's going to be at a slower pace. So, you know, the whole flooring thing is just going to keep on chugging along the way it is right now until we get a handle on things.
Missy, what do you think?
Sorry, what do I think?
What's
Oh, absolutely.
important for you?
Well, definitely listening to the customers, finding out what other gymnastics mats, what other, you know, we're going to be doing kitchen mats for the home, and also other sporting, especially with people now exercising from home. People are now doing Zoom meetings, Zoom cheer tryouts, acro classes, dance classes. Everyone's going onto Zoom since it's all the social distancing. So providing to the consumer what they need. And we, you know, finding out, right now we have the mats, but finding out what additional items they do want or will need in the future.
Well, it's always good to test it. Like, we didn't realize the wrestling mats were going to be such a hit. And we have a third party company that supplies us with those. And they're like, there's not much competition out there for home wrestling mats, is what we've learned on Amazon or out on the website, other websites. So I think that's probably going to grow a lot with different types, different colors, different levels of, you know, do you want one that's more commercial grade or one that's more, you know, I just want to throw it in my basement and, you know, have my kids flop around on it. And then also these inflatable mats. I mean, we didn't know that was a test as well. And now we're looking at different colors, different options, different lengths, different thicknesses. So, you know, you put it out there and you test it, and then before you make a huge commitment. But that's kind of how we're doing now. So it'll be a little slower to get new products, but we want to make sure we get the right ones that our customers are looking for.
Right. Very good. Well, I just want to thank all three of you for being on the big review. You've been good sports, and appreciate you sharing your background and what's important to you as a merchant. We love working with you. Appreciate your time so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me as well.
Yes, sir. I just want to say thank you. It's always good to have you on the big review. Hopefully we can have you back here real soon. You always offer good insights, and we appreciate you very much, Amir.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. And We Sell Mats team, great to chat with you guys again.
Thanks. You
Nice
too,
talking
Amir.
with
Thank
you.
you.
All right, guys. Well, thank you to everybody who's joined us today, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Big Review. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.